Duncan Wardle, former head of creativity and innovation at Disney. Duncan, thank you so much for joining the DCKAP Summit. That was a great session, really great 1 hour. So thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure to be here.
So Duncan, I'm just curious, you talked a lot about creativity and how do you prepare yourself for creativity? I mean, there was a great session you gave. You talked about kids being curious. We as kids are more curious than as you grow up as adults. But then what are your thoughts on as you grow? How do you prepare yourself in terms of what are you reading and how do you prepare yourself for creativity?
I'm very playful. You heard me ask people where are they when they get their best ideas, that shower, driving, walking. Nobody ever says at work. You're like, why not? Because we're not playful at work. And the moment when you hear yourself say, I don't have time to think, we don't have access to 87% of our brain. But simply by being playful, you open that door between your conscious and unconscious brain, which is where we are when we get of our best ideas. And I think the other one is give ourselves time to think, right? And I think that's crucial. We don't give ourselves enough time to think, and yet we still know it's the number one barrier to being more creative.
Yeah, giving yourself time to think makes a lot of sense. I'm just curious, how do you give yourself time to think? Is it like, hey, let's say I work from 8 to 5. Do I carve out like an hour of thinking time? Is that a good idea? Or is it like, hey, I think whenever I feel like thinking?
I think it's more, be natural where you can, but we overschedule ourselves. So I used to carve out an hour a day, and it was literally called time to think, and I would go for a walk.
Time to think. That's amazing. Duncan, we talk a lot about reading at DCKAP. We say readers are leaders. What book are you reading right now?
I'm writing one.
Oh, that's awesome.
Finally. No, Ed Catmull's book on Creativity Inc. is very good, extremely good. There's a website I use, which is good. We talked about freshness and how to get fresh ideas. It's called contagious.com. It has nothing to do with me. But what it does is does a really nice job of packaging up future trends, whether it's AR, AI, etc. And it shows you, here's what it is. Here's what companies are using it really well. Here's how you should be thinking about it. And it just, whatever topic you're thinking about, it's really useful.
No, distributors they form the bulk of the businesses here in the United States. And then it's not your typical audience. And you really engage them and you really got them to work. So what's one advice you would give for the distribution industry based on whatever you saw today, and what do you think distributors can do to foster more creativity in their companies?
If leaders, we're not playful at the right time, not playful every minute of every day, but if we're not playful when we need other people to be playful and have their big ideas, we can't expect them to follow. Time to think. Give your teams the time to think. It could be as simple as something I mentioned there, where we just take 1 hour a month, where we invite our teams to come in for breakfast, first Friday of every month, be consistent, 9 till 10 a.m., first Friday of every month. Small team, big team, real, virtual. Just invite people to come. No PowerPoint presentations, no why is it good for the business. Just have them come in and talk about something they've seen in the last 30 days in their personal or business life that they thought was innovative or creative. You'll be amazed at the energy level you bring into the organization, but also the amount of new ideas.
Be playful. That's a great thought. So when is your book coming out, Duncan?
Let's say summer to 2022. Here's the thing. People ask why I left Disney. I left Disney because I was there 30 years. But also I kept watching all of us demand of our teams, you must innovate, take risks, be brave, think differently. But nobody's showing people how to do it. So I'm essentially creating a cooking book. It's a recipe. Step 1, do this. Step 2, do this. Step 3. And I want it to be more. Whenever you see books, where are they? They're on a bookshelf or on a desk, but they're not in somebody's hands. So I'm going to put a set of cards with all the innovation tools and all the creative behaviors with it so that somebody will have the courage to, because it's less intimidating. I can take out my favorite tool, go use it in a meeting tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. Oh, I can do it. I'll give it a. The challenge is, as we grow up, we're told, we don't think we can innovate. We don't think we're creative. But as you saw in that room, I gave them an exercise. They all said, I'm not creative. But at the moment we gave them the exercise, they proved to themselves they're far more creative than they think they are.
Absolutely. Can't wait to read your book. One last question. How does your schedule look like every day? Can you walk us through your schedule? I think that'll actually help a lot of audiences as well. It'll actually help me as well on how you think, how to be playful. And how does your schedule look like every day?
Wake up at 6 o'clock every single morning. I meditate from 6:30 to 7:30. I do yoga from 7:30 to 8:30, Monday to Friday, I hasten to add. And then it's you fly, you speak, you sleep, you fly. But I do spend a lot of time meditating. I do yoga every morning.
And for your speaking engagements, how much time do you spend reading or preparing yourself? Or are you just so used to it that, hey, it's just so easy, I don't have to do all that?
No, you're never used to it. No, because, and it makes what's really good is when they're just about to invite you up on stage, you get that little, like, that's good. It keeps you alive.
I know I said one last question, but talking to you, I have more questions. But what advice would you give for budding speakers out there who are looking to be like a Duncan Wardle? Hey, I want to be like Duncan Wardle. I want to go up there, engage audiences. I want to do this. What advice would you give?
The same advice somebody gave me 6 years ago when I hadn't got a clue what I was doing. He said, you will never be good at training people or speaking until you genuinely enjoy giving back.
That's awesome. Give back is a great way to say. One last question, again on speaking. So let's say, you go to a speaking engagement and you expect 100 people, and then there are 200 people. How do you handle that? And then let's say there are not 100 people, but then there's just 50 people. How do you handle that? Does that motivate or demotivate you as a speaker?
One advice I was given, I was told that one day you'll walk into a room expecting 1,000 people and there'll be 5 people there. He said, give it your best shot because you don't know who those 5 people are.
That's amazing. That's great advice, Duncan. Duncan, it's a pleasure talking to you. Thank you for coming to the DCKAP Summit. Thanks for flying down and thanks for being here.
Thank you very much indeed. Thanks for having me.